So my story is going to really resonate with a lot of you guys because I'm a normal guy. All right. And I'm actually, my parents are from Cuba, so they're immigrants. I came here when I was 9 years old, and I grew up in Florida, a place, Fort Myers, Florida, which is Southwest Florida. Basically, I started from nothing. My mom basically raised me and my brother, single mother, living on anything you can imagine, from food stamps to welfare and to anything she could get to just help feed us, keep a roof over our heads, and just take care of us. So at the time, I didn't really understand what those struggles were. I just knew as a child that I didn't have the things that I wanted, like shoes and clothes. And, you go to school and you see kids wearing cool clothes. And when you're young, all of those things matter to you. As you get older, you realize it's all bullshit. But anyway, I grew up with a lot of lack in the sense of luxuries. But I did grow up with love, even though I didn't understand it at the time. My mother did everything she could to raise me and my brother, and I think she did the best that she could. With that being said, grew up in a poor neighborhood where I was influenced by a lot of negative people around because that's all that was around me. So with that, I basically want to say that I started to do dumb shit from the age of 15, and by that I mean, smoking weed, hanging out with the bad kids, skipping school just to hang out and do dumb crap. I was in that world for a very long time. And so I grew up with that kind of mindset. When you're around those people, not that they're bad people, they just don't know any better. Your mindset becomes just like them. So in your case, for example, you grow up around your family and the people that you grow up around, and whatever their beliefs and thoughts are, you're going to adapt because that's all you know, right? It doesn't make you bad, it doesn't make them bad, it's just what you know. So at the time, I thought that everything was out of my hands. Out of my hands. This is the life that I've been given. I hate the police. Of course, I hated the police because I did dumb shit that got me in trouble with the police, right? So that's where I started from. That's where I come from. Basically, long story short, guys, I've done everything from being arrested to selling drugs to doing drugs to alcohol problems. You name it. I've been there. I've done it. I come from that. And so I share that with you because if you've been in the same place or you've grown up around the same scenario, I want you to know that no matter where you start from, you can become who you want to become. And I'm going to share exactly what that means. So I started from that. And at the age of 18, around there, I was hit with a DUI and petty theft at the same time. So essentially, no one would hire me because of the petty theft. They did not trust me. And I couldn't do a driving job because I got a DUI. So now I'm carless, driverless, and no one would hire me. So in my world, that was the bottom. Now, while I was sitting in jail, guys, 20 years old or something like that, I already realized that I didn't want this life. But when I was sitting in that little cold cell with a bunch of losers around me, I realized that there was more to me than this and that this is not the life I wanted to live. So when I left that jail cell, I made a decision. That I was going to change my life. It was a decision I made at the time to change my life. I realized that that was not the life I wanted, and I wanted more. So I didn't know what that meant. For me, improving myself was go get my GED because I dropped out at the age of 15 from high school. Go get my GED. We'll start there and figure it out, right? So I did that. I went back to school. I invested time into, nighttime to go and get my GED. Boom, I got that. And then I automatically felt better about myself because I proved to myself that I could do something. The other thing was one of the biggest jobs or the biggest breaks in my life was a job I was given by LA Fitness. LA Fitness is a gym, it's a fitness thing, right? And so at the time, like I mentioned, no one would hire me. So I was so hungry to work. I just wanted an opportunity. And I had in my mind changed who I was. And I was willing to do whatever it takes to prove that. So when I was given the opportunity by LA Fitness, I flourished. My job was basically to make sales, to go out and meet people and invite them to the gym. And I absolutely crushed it. Number one, I was just a good talker. Number two, I had nothing to lose. Number three, I was willing to do whatever it takes. And so I did it. I was successful. Boom. Fast forward, that changed my life. But then I realized I didn't want to do sales forever. So then I went back to school, became a registered nurse. So yes, high school dropout, got my GED, went back to school, started the prerequisites to the prerequisites of nursing. And then I did the nursing program. And then I became a nurse around 28 years old. I'm trying to fast forward this for you guys. But I'm just giving you a story of my timeline. So at 28, I graduated as a nurse. I went to work as a nurse and I realized that it's all the same. And this is where it all begins. Any job, and I've done almost every job you can imagine, from cooking to construction. I mean, you just name it, I've done it. And one of the things, and this is part of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you, one of the things that I always realized is that I could not work for people. I had an ego problem, have an ego problem about people telling me what to do that are not smarter than me. But as long as I don't self-actualize, people will always be able to tell me what to do because I am allowing myself to be underneath them. You get what I'm going with this? So I realized as a nurse, and that's quote unquote a great career. And it is, it's a beautiful career. But I quickly realized it still was not my calling. It was not who I was as a person. I enjoyed being really good at it because I was an ICU nurse and I was able to basically be the one people called when there were big issues. And I was just really good at my job. But I still had a boss that mistreated me. And I still had a bad boss in every other job that I had. Now, in some part in the earlier years, it's probably me because I was young and dumb and I didn't know any better. But I would say in the LA fitness world and in the cooking world and every other world I can remember right now, it was just people mistreating me. So I knew that when I started a business, part of what I was going to do was treat my employees the way I wanted to be treated. So guys, that is my introduction to this story. I'm going to make another video of the next step. Excuse me. But the thing that I want to drive home here is where I come from. Okay. My mother was an immigrant. I grew up with lack, poverty. I hung out with the wrong people. I did drugs. I did alcohol. I did stupid shit. I got a DUI. You name it, I've done it. I took that person, guys, and I built $1 million business from there. Okay? Now, the $1 million business sounds like a big thing, but honestly, all the steps getting there were bigger. Getting my GED, going back to school and getting my prerequisites, getting the prerequisites to the nursing program, getting through the nursing program, which is very competitive. Like there was a lot. Oh, stop smoking cigarettes, stop doing drugs, stop smoking weed, stop drinking alcohol. Like look at all the accomplishments that I made in that transition. It wasn't easy. I did one thing at a time. And I'm only sharing this with you because I want you to know that if you're in any similar place than I was, you can get out of it. You can get out of it. It's a choice that you have to make the same way I made the choice when I was sitting in that jail cell when I was 20 years old. It starts there, guys. It starts with that decision. And that's the purpose of this whole video. And then the next ones, I'm going to show you the next steps, what I did in order to grow my business.